What up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? It's Matty P here with another episode on Steelers Touch and Under. It is 5 things to take away from the Steelers versus Falcons in the final preseason game for Week 3. Let's crack straight into it. Number 1, the Steelers have depth. You've seen it throughout the preseason at a number of positions. But a key area where I think the Steelers have depth that's really important for fans, for the team, for the progression, the potential of this team going forward, and it addresses a big problem from last year, is in the offense, and namely around the positions of not quarterback. We know Mitch Trubisky is a 50-50 backup. We know Mason Rudolph's probably one of the best number 3 quarterbacks in the league. But instead, it's with running back, wide receiver, and tight end. Let's talk about wide receiver. Pickens looked good in this game. Calvin Austin looked pretty good in this game. Deontay Johnson looked good in this game. Allen Robinson, the second is a safe pair of hands. Those guys look good. These are weapons for Kenny Pickett in year 2. He's getting the ball to them. The offensive line's keeping him upright and allowing the actual time for the Steelers wide receivers to get into space, to get into where they need to be able to allow him to make completions. You saw that on the first drive from Kenny Pickett when it was 3 and 4. Deep ball to Deontay. Look out. Here we go. Then you saw it again a couple of players later. Straight to Pickens. Kenny Pickett didn't miss a pass. Absolutely terrific there from the Steelers. That's awesome. That's huge. You got to love it. You'll love to see it. Running back as well. Najee looked good in the short passing game. I've been waiting all offseason to talk about this. I've wanted this all offseason as well. I wanted it last year as I think it's really important. It takes pressure off Kenny Pickett. You saw that when he went for that sort of 16-yard run, that sort of scramble. You saw 3 touchdowns from the running backs. Najee, McFarland Jr., Warren. Perfect. Hayward had 2 rushes as well, as I record this just before the game ends. So that was really exciting. Connor Hayward's clearly the 4th running back there. McFarland Jr. is number 3. I think this has settled the versatility that McFarland gives you as well from the punt return and the pass catching game. It's a really important thing. So that depth looks good. And then at tight end, obviously Darnell Washington, Pat Freiermuth, Gentry's in there. He's been playing a bit through the preseason, as you'd expect. And then Connor Hayward again was in the receiving, targets in this game. I think he had 2 receptions for about 16 yards. 2 receptions for 27 yards. By the time, again, I recorded this with about 1 minute to go in the game. So that's pretty exciting from that perspective. Offensive depth was a big problem last year in terms of the offense. In terms of the points they produced, just an exciting play to watch, and their potency, that's been improved. And depth is a big reason why, not just having the right players. Takeaway number 2 for me, had the fumble recovery. It's played well in preseason. Kenny Robinson, if he doesn't make the 53, I do think he'll be on the practice squad. I think he spent a little bit of time there last year. He might be the unluckiest guy not to make the 53 if all things are equal as of today. If he does make it, he's definitely earned his spot. I'm actually been really excited watching him throughout training camp in the preseason. He's definitely showed up. He's definitely around the ball. So yeah, I do think that's one takeaway for me is he could be one of the most unlucky players not to make the 53 if he doesn't. Point number 3, the pass rush is going to bring the blitz back to the Berg. I mean, this looked good. Herbig, yet another sack, more tackles for us. Landon Roberts was in the backfield. Very Vince Williams-esque. I feel like we've got Vinny Vidovici, the second in Landon Roberts, E-Rob. He looked good. Excited for him. I think we've kind of got we talk a lot about the wide receivers over the last few years being a 2A and a 2B. I kind of feel it's Holcomb because he flew around the field again in this game. He's been, I think, an absolute steal at an $18 million over 3 years at $6 million a year average. But his partnership with E-Rob and his partnership with Quan is going to be pretty cool to see and that develop. And then you just weave in Mark Robinson into the mix. But the pass rush looks really good between Highsmith, TJ, Herbig. And Watts had a tackle for a loss as well. He was getting involved. The pass rush, but from the outside linebacker perspective and the inside linebacker perspective, looks good. The blitz is back for the Berg. Point number 4. This is more of a negative one. Backup center continues to be a problem for the Steelers. McCollum played a lot of backup center in this. Kendrick Green was playing a lot of right guard. I don't think that's where his destiny is. They tried him at left guard last year in the preseason and in training camp. Then he sat out the year. This is a problem if anything happens to Mason Cole. This is the sort of thing where you end up having to have an in-season trade. I wouldn't be surprised with the Steelers if they look at the different cuts that happen around the league and they bring someone in, and then someone else that you thought would make the team ends up on the practice squad, they need a depth guy. I didn't think Ryan McCollum played too poorly in this game. You're just not comfortable with it. And I guess that's any position. If the backup has to play, you get a bit worried about that. But I think in this instance, the Steelers need to sort of start coming up with a plan for a backup center. 17 games is a long season, plus the playoffs. You don't want to lose that position and then the ball go everywhere. So, backup center's got to be addressed. Finally, to end the show, the 5 things. Stay tuned as well for our show tomorrow where Mark and I that's coming out tomorrow, where we're going to have a prediction on the depth, on the full 53, maybe even the practice squad too, depending how quickly we can get through it in one show for you guys. But the Steelers are ready. You as fans are ready. The scores, look at this, 24-0 final score against the Falcons, 27-15 against the Buccaneers, 27-17, against the Buccaneers, 27-15 against the Bills. This team is ready to play football. They're scoring over 24 points a game. Actually, that's the lowest they've scored. They're scoring well over 26 points per game now, and the offense looks good. I know it's only preseason football, but remember the starters are playing less than really. I think starters have only played 1 full quarter so far in each game. So it's pretty exciting for the Steelers. Here we go, Steeler fans. Here we go. As always, go Steelers.